Hey dudes and dudettes, Mr. Theorist here, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat About. You know what I'm doing with this series. I am picking a movie. At the moment I'm doing the Saw franchise, and I give you the plot, I tell you the goods and the bads, and give it a rating, and you guys enjoy. We are currently on Saw 6. Yay, we're almost there. And again, I have notes. I started doing notes after 4, well, for the last video though, and yeah, I kind of went crazy this time. Yeah, you know, I said that Saw 1 to 3 are really good, and Saw 4 after rewatching it is really, really good. Saw 5 after rewatching it, I'm like, yeah, this is why the second half of the series is a bit, because I've got like 3 pages of notes, and I think only like 1 or 2 really positive points on them. So, yeah. Alright, so before we get through this, we'll talk about the overall plot of Saw 5. Right, so, like most Saw films, the story opens with a trap. This time, it's 2 people who are being told that you are loan sharks who loan out more money than you know they can pay back, and you basically do this because you know you can get more money out of them than they could ever pay. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Which then we instantly flash to a flashback of Saw 4 where Hoffman has defeated Strahm and he gets out the trap, looks up ominously, and you're like, okay, and he smiles. Then the rest of the movie plays out where you find out that the main trap is a guy who works for an insurance company, and he has created this formula in which he can decide if someone is viable for them to take on, or for as someone for them a client for them to take on. And obviously Saw hears about this because actually Saw goes to this guy for insurance and gets put on the system, and then finds out the formula for this guy and is like, this is messed up. You take on all these accounts of their age and their health and their family's health, but you don't take into account the ability for a human to survive when the time comes, which clearly this is a pre-Jigsaw Saw, but the mentality's already there. And it's one thing this film does well, is we do get a lot of flashbacks because the movie does hammer home that this guy Saw really, really didn't like and wanted to put this guy to the test. To the point where, instead of Billy the Puppet being in any of the videos, it's Jigsaw showing his face to this guy, because this is a very personal trap for him. And it's nice, because you do get a lot of Saw flashbacks in Saw 5. It's one thing I like about it, but there are a lot of, bad points. At the same time, I could argue that these bad points make the film good in a way. We'll get to it in a minute. So, the movie goes along, the guy has to go through his test, in which everyone connected to his business is put in a trap with him. And all the way through, Jigsaw's like, well, does your formula work? Do you agree with the formula? The first one is, you are healthy, and this janitor who throws away all your trash and clearly knows about you is a smoker and very unhealthy. According to your formula, you are meant to survive and he's not. And it's very tight. It kind of shows you that, yeah, you're not taking into account someone's will to survive. Second trap he has to go through. I'd say traps there, the more games that he has to play with other people. He himself, apart from the first one, is never in any true danger. Well, in the first and third trap he is, but the other 2 he isn't. Because the second one is there's an old woman and his the old woman's his secretary, and the guy is like his protege or something, or his mailman, something like that. It's not quite fully understood. And he has to hold on to these 2 metal chains, and Saw says, you have to let one of them go. That person will die, and the other one will live. Now, the old woman, she's old, which means according to your formula, she doesn't deserve to live, but she has a family. The young guy, on the other hand, is very healthy, but he has no family. Who do you choose? And this is where we start to see the turn of our main character, where he decides to choose the old woman because she has a family. and he's beginning to understand that his formula is very flawed. The third trap, he is told that, yeah, you must help your lawyer, who is a lawyer, she's a lawyer for the entire firm, get through this maze of steam pipes. You must get burned a bit, but you help her go all the way through, and you hold the key to her survival. Now, we found that he's got a slice across him, and when he manages to help her get through, finds out that Jigsaw put a key inside of him, and her goal is to basically kill him and take the key. Fortunately, he manages to survive long enough for the timer on her to go off, and metal rods go through her skull, and she dies. And again, it's a survival of the fittest kind of thing, of they are the same health, but he managed to survive it. Doesn't really delve much into his formula with the third one. It's just more of a, yeah, well, she's a dodgy lawyer, and it was you or her. Now, the fourth one is his last test, and it's his magical group of people who look through all of their clients' list of their... what's the word? The word is gone. It's all their paperwork they fill out when you do a health insurance thing. And these 6 people basically go through and analyse everyone's papers and sees if there's any any what they class as lies or anything, where someone hasn't told them that they had oral surgery, and because they didn't tell them oral surgery, that could lead to gum disease, and gum disease can lead to heart disease, and that specific person's case is very particular to test. So he has to choose only 2 of the 6 that go around his merry-go-round. 4 of them get shot with a shotgun. 2 of them, if he sticks his hand in and he gets punch holes in them, they'll survive. At this point, he's not using his formula at all, and he saves one girl because she's like, "I want kids," and he's like, "Okay, press." Second one is you see him. It's before the merry-go-round is even stopped for the next target, and he's already ready to press his hand in because he's like, "I don't care who it is. I just got to save another person." And you see that his formula here, he understands it. It's broken down. He knows he's failed. He was stupid, and he should have listened to Jigsaw when Jigsaw told him about the whole survival instinct. Now, as this is going on, we're following Hoffman's story, and we're beginning to see how he is as Jigsaw. He is very meticulous, as we saw in Saw 4 when he set Strom up. And he seems to be following Jigsaw's way, and very much that he is the true protege of Jigsaw. But at the same time, he almost gets off on the cruelty that everyone has to suffer. Because after the first trap with the 2 loan sharks, you see him sit in a chair listening to their screams in agony. He likes it. And then in a flashback where they're setting up one of the Saw 3 traps with the Timmy guy who had his limbs twisted, he just tosses the guy aside, and Jigsaw's like, "Do you enjoy brutality?" And he's like, "Well, you enjoy them suffering just as much as I do." And you can see that, yeah, he kind of gets off on it. Jigsaw isn't happy about the fact that brought him in, but he kind of does, as much as he's a cop, who he's kind of using for all intents and purposes, he enjoys some of it, and it's not right. And we actually see a bit of Amanda being the true apprentice, where Hoffman's going to change some of the trap, and Jigsaw's like, "Well, if you do that, you're going to have to alter all of this." And Amanda's like, "Why don't you just stick to lifting people up? I'll stick to setting up the traps." And it's like, oh, that's nice. Instead of just seeing Amanda as this failed apprentice to Jigsaw, you actually see her following his ways a bit. And as the movie goes on, we then find out, while the main trap's going on, that Hoffman actually set up Amanda. That the fact that Amanda shot Lynn from Saw 3 wasn't in her own free will, is because Hoffman left her a letter that you see in Saw 3 saying, "Oh yeah, you know Cecil killed Jill's son? Well, I know you were there, and it's because of you that Cecil did what he did. And unless you kill Jill, I'm gonna tell John." And this is why Amanda was so adamant about killing Lynn. Lynn was doomed, and so was Amanda, because Hoffman made sure of it. He was making Amanda be out of the picture so he could continue on. We then also find out, massive reveal, that Jill has actually been connected to Saw this time. That she hasn't just been an innocent wife whose husband became Jigsaw. She has been, to some degree, keeping an eye on him and almost helping him to a certain amount. The fact that she got the will of Saw, and he said the box of grave importance, is because she was given all the details for the trap Hoffman set up in this film. She was given 6 envelopes and handed 5 of the envelopes onto Hoffman. The rest of the box, we don't know what's in it. But then when the main character completes his final test of saving 2 out of the 6, he ends up getting to the room just before the timer goes off, and 2 doors open, and all the way through you've been watching a boy and a mum watch him, and a news reporter on the other end. And so all the way through is like, yes, your family is in danger, you need to complete all these and get to them before the timer goes off. And you assume the mother and son are his family, and the news reporter is like a lover of his. But no, it turns out that the news reporter is his sister, and the mum and son are the family of someone who he failed, who he said, I won't pay for your health insurance because you lied. And the family is given the choice, look, you can either forgive him, or you can press this lever, injecting him with lots of acid, and he will die. Now the wife, she's come a long way, and she's like, I can't do this. I can't kill him. I will not be like him. Son, on the other hand's like, nah, sod it. Flips the switch. Guy gets shoved with loads of acid, and he dies. It's like, well, okay, he's dead. At the same time, Hoffman's story is going on, and he is met up with the other new FBI leader, who was like Strom's boss. And he's turning around and going, oh, yeah, we lied to Strom. Perez isn't dead. And Hoffman's like, shoot, that's not good. Obviously, he doesn't say this, but he's like, oh, God. And they're leading him and going, look, we've got evidence that your sister's boyfriend, the guy who killed him, wasn't Jigsaw. And we have an audio tape that proves it. That when we decode it, it won't be Jigsaw's voice, it'll be someone else's. And he's like, oh, it's going to be Strom's. And they're like, yeah. And all the way through, you were getting this feeling that Perez and Perez's boss know of Hoffman. And they're just getting him to somewhere where they can prove it's him and arrest him. Hoffman, in this film, really is like, God damn it. Damn, they lied about Perez. This is not good. And they get him to this location. The tape gets decoded. They hear Hoffman's voice and they're like, huh. But Hoffman's quick. He prepped for this. Slices the throat of the boss, throws hot coffee in Perez's face, kills the tech, then burns the whole place. And it's like, okay, well, so Hoffman was ready for that. Then he goes back to the room, back to the location where the big trap's happening, but Jill's there, and she ambushes him and sticks the head trap, or a more improved version of the head trap that Amanda had to wear, and throws the letter up and is basically like, yeah, 6 envelope, that was Hoffman. Saw told Jill that when this is all over and this is his final trap, you got to put Hoffman in this and Hoffman will die. Jill sets the trap up, walks away, and it's like, damn, well, Hoffman's dead then. But he's obviously learned enough. He breaks his thumb, slips his thumb out, breaks his restraints, goes up to the door that's got bars on the windows, sticks his face through, the trap opens but can only go halfway, he yanks himself, pulling half his face off, but he manages to survive. And that is the end of the plot of Saw 5. And it's really cool to see Hoffman basically being the perfect apprentice that Saw wanted, while at the same time he's kind of a dodgy serial killer-esque thing, which is what Saw didn't want, and that's why he put him in the trap. The negatives of this film, there's a lot. I'll pick some of them out. I don't want to go through all of them. In this film, you feel that every victim or subject of Saw is instantly able to figure out or willing to do what is necessary. Which is cool because it shows the progression of the story and everyone's understanding how Jigsaw works now. But at the same time, it's like, so now everyone knows, everyone's now like, yeah, if he tells me to chop my arm off, I chop my arm off. If he tells me I've got to hold my breath and this other person's going to die, screw it, I'm going to hold my breath, this other person's going to die. yeah, the tonal shift of it a bit, and the way that other people can survive a lot more now is a bit like, yeah. What else we got? Yeah, the Jill thing. It's something that I was okay with the first time I watched Saw, but now I've watched it 3 or 4 times. I'm like, did I really want Jill to actually be a part of Saw's legacy, or did I actually want her to be the innocent wife who was being accused, but she had nothing to do with it? When her husband became a serial killer, she went, "No, I can't accept this. Our son might be dead, but I won't accept this." And the fact she's part of Saw's thing and she's helped him out, and that she knew Amanda, and it's because through Amanda that Saw was able to keep Jill on board, and everyone's connected because Amanda and Cecil were a couple, and Amanda was a patient of Jill, and Jill is Saw's wife. It's like, it's nice because it explains why Saw was so adamant to have Amanda succeed, and it can almost make you think that maybe the trap he set her for, he was hoping she would survive it so he could take her on as the apprentice, bring Jill into the fold, and he can have like his perfect family of this daughter type of figure and his wife, which is nice. But I don't know about the Jill thing. I'm on the fence over it, so we'll put that as a not sure. That's not sure the series really. Maybe we'll have a third one. We'll have the goods, the bads, and yeah. See how it goes though. What else we got? Oh, yeah. This is a point that it's not really a good or a bad, but it's something that the fan base got a bit irritated about. I didn't see a problem with it specifically because each film is catered to their own style and everything. But in Saw 4, there is a chance that every test subject could have survived. But in every other Saw film, they're not. So when Saw 5 comes around, and not everyone's going to survive it, not everyone connected to the main character is going to survive all the traps, people got a bit huffy about it and a bit like, well, why has Jigsaw done this? Well, in fact, it's never been that Saw will let everyone survive. Some people are purely there as tools for the test, and others are there to be tested. It's only in Saw 4 that because they're all connected in this way, he gives them all a chance to survive, but because he knows them, more than likely they're not going to. Right. Now we got a what have we got? Saw itself. It's always been this. Saw is clearly the villain, yet we're kind of on his side because he's our main character, kind of thing. And yet in Saw 5, to a degree, you're kind of thinking, well, I hope all these people die in traps because you've got loan sharks. You've got a guy who's in charge of a health insurance company who was doomed people to die because he's like, yeah, you paid all this money in, but we found this discrepancy on your records, therefore we're not going to pay. So you're kind of like rooting for a degree, like, yeah, I hope these people get it. And I think that's a bit of a thing that kind of went wrong in this film. Saw 4, yeah, you can say that you wanted them all to die. But the whole point is they could have all died, they could have all lived if they worked together. But in this film, some of them, you felt that they had no necessary to be in this trap. In every other Saw film, apart from the beginning of Saw 4, where you don't actually find out why there's 2 people in the trap. It's one thing about Saw 4 I'm always a bit sketchy about. There feels like there's legit reasons why everyone's there. Gordon cheats on his wife, and he's got this perfect marriage, yet he's throwing his life away. And Adam, who is willing to spy on everyone, and get money that way. Like, they're throwing away their lives. Saw hasn't had this chance to live out this perfect life, and yet he's seen people that are throwing away those lives, so he puts them into a trap because they are doing these bad things even though they have good lives ahead of them. Saw 2, everyone there is criminals who are repeatedly offended and have just thrown their lives away. And yeah, like, and to be fair, in Saw 2, each of them do have a chance to survive. Saw 3 is the same. Jeff has a daughter and a wife still, and yet is seeking revenge. He's throwing his life away, so he's going to put in the traps. Saw 4, the cops, instead of focusing on being alive, they are throwing their lives away. Saw 5, on the other chance, no one's throwing their lives away. The main character, yes, has a dodgy health insurance company, but there are some people in the group that they're just doing their job. It's not like they're dooming people's lives. His secretary, she's not doing anything wrong, yet she could potentially should have died. His mailman wasn't doing anything wrong. The janitor wasn't really doing anything wrong. And it's one thing, it's like, she's kind of turning away from where the rest of the franchise is. But the main character and then the six in the circle, you're like, yeah, I don't care, they can die because they're horrible people. And then you kind of make Hoffman feel like a vigilante, and it's like, it's not kind of how I want the sort of franchise to go. Anyway, this video's going on a very long time. Let me pick out a couple more things, because I say I got like 3 pages of this stuff, and I'm not going to get through all of it. Yes, this is the thing, it's a negative, but it should have been a positive. If this was the final film in the saga, not just because I've seen Saw 7, but if this was just the final film in the saga, Saw 6, yes, we're on Saw 6, Saw 5, Saw 6, yeah, because Saw 5 was the one where everyone's, yeah, I'm getting my numbers mixed up because there's so many of them. Anyway, Saw 6, if this had been the final film, after my first watching it without a Saw 7, I would have loved it, because they set up the fact that Hoffman should have died, which I feel if this was going to be the final film, he would have died. Jill was the only survivor. Saw hints at the fact that the health insurance guy was his final trap. Amanda's story comes full circle, and everything is laid out quite nicely. But Hoffman survives, and it's kind of like, well, looks like Hoffman's going to be in trouble because, like, there is evidence that exists now about him. Clearly that's going to be the next film. And that's why this is a down. Because, no, they should have ended it on 6. Having Hoffman die, Jill survive, being the only survivor, because Saw made sure she was the only survivor of his entire massive game he was playing all this time, would have felt complete. Where I know I'm kind of going into the fact that Saw 7 exists and stuff, but it's when you start to feel that Twisted Pictures and Lionsgate just decide this is making money, so we're going to just keep going and keep going and keep going. And it's why Saw 6 and 7 do feel naff, because the love of the franchise is almost gone to a degree. 1 through 3, you felt there was love, there was true connection being made, and they weren't making additional stuff so the other films would be connected. There was already a connection running all the way through. Saw 4 just about managed it and bridged the gap between the two sagas. And then Saw 5, 6... 5 isn't overly bad, but it's kind of naff. Saw 6, it's really getting to the point of becoming a bit if it wasn't for things like Tobin, like, I'll show you. Big note I wrote in big letters. Tobin Bell's scenes, best ever. Because it is. It's one thing that the second trilogy suffers from, is unless Tobin Bell's on screen, the story's kind of meandering along. It's kind of He saves the movie, but if you've got a character who you killed off in your third film, saving every single one of your movies, it's frustrating for someone like me who actually really loves the franchise. And no more notes, no more ups and downs, because enough ranting. Be calm. So ups, there are very few. Tobin Bell scenes, some backstory, finding out more about Hoffman, cool. Bads, Jill being connected, clearly just making them now for the pure money. The tone and just the overall structure feeling a little off. Bads, and there are more of these. If I was to throw off more of the list than there are goods. Scales are tipping a bit now, instead of it just kind of being par. So, overall rating, out of 5, I'm giving Saw 6 a 3. I thought I was going to give it a 4, but after this watch, I'm seeing the issues now. And 3 being half score is that a bit much? So I might even say 2.5 out of 5 because Tobin Bell scenes, as much as I love them to bits, and whenever he's on screen, I just love it. The rest of it, it does begin to feel a bit unsore, and I'm like, no, I can't accept it. So yeah, that is my thoughts on Saw 6. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit that like button, leave a comment, tell me what you think, whether maybe you disagree, maybe you think Saw 5 is really cool, or maybe you're one of those people that think the Saw franchise is nothing more than a gore fest of how gory can we make it kind of thing, and you've never really liked any of them. It's fair enough. Saw does feel to a degree like an acquired taste. I kind of enjoy them, as you've listened through all 6 videos. And if you would, guys, if you haven't, subscribe, and if you have, please share this video with some of your friends. And until next video, I will catch you all later. Bye!